almost said a whole different podcast name of Two Queens Make a
Are you
Pair.
making podcasts with other people?
Oh, welcome to Two Queens Make a Pair.
What podcast were you going to say?
I was going to say Pod Meets World.
Oh, we have been watching
that. I've
Hello,
been
Danielle
listening
Fisher.
to that one a lot, so I almost said that. But that is not where we are. I'm Maggie.
And I'm Sam.
All right, so I feel like our last discussion was really good on.
Why you always got your hand on your hip?
It's just comfortable and it's a power move.
Okay.
Why do you always make funny faces at the beginning of the video?
That's not on purpose. That's not a power move. Everything's usually falling apart. I say I'm ready and then it's not.
And then I always just try to catch her at like the most random moments. Hit to go.
Yeah, you do it on purpose.
Yeah, I sure do. But no, I feel like our discussion on discrimination was really good.
Our discussion on discrimination.
Yeah.
Yes.
And how to have more empathy and compassion and kindness for people, groups of people. And so along that same thought of having kindness and compassion, we're going to talk about that and how we have that towards ourselves today.
Ew.
Yeah. So what do you think of when you think of an inner critic?
You mean my bestie?
Hey, inner critic.
Hey. No one is harder on me than I am on myself. That is for sure. So me and my inner critic are very close.
Okay, tell me about your inner critic.
Well, I haven't named her.
Yeah, have you named her?
No. She's actually not someone that I have named. She's just there. Dark Kermit Sam.
Yeah, like the meme.
As opposed to what other Dark Kermit do you know?
I don't know. Just double checking.
So if I the definition, is that what I'm supposed to be doing?
I just asked you what you think of when you think about the
well,
inner critic.
me and my bestie, my inner critic.
No, I asked you, like, tell me about her. Tell me what are things about her.
Some common phrases, I guess I could say, is like, I'm not a real grown-up. Like, I'm not actually equipped for XYZ. I charge a lot at the hospital, and I'm like, I should not be allowed to be in charge of other nurses and 30 patients. I shouldn't be allowed to be in charge of anybody's life, that's for sure. So my what's it called? The imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
We're very close. Me and
so
that.
Your inner critic amplifies your imposter syndrome.
Yeah, they're also besties.
Yeah.
What about yours? What's her name?
What inner critic? No, I'm just kidding. I think about a little devil Maggie that's sitting on my shoulder.
Okay.
You know, like the devil and the angel cartoons.
Yeah.
Well, my angel is MIA when I'm insecure and having major inner critic moments, and it's just this little devil. And if I was good at technology, I would put one right here. But yeah, I think of sometimes the biggest battle that we have is the one between our ears, and it really puts us down, you know?
I'm sorry, the phrasing itself, I was like, yeah, my brain is my biggest battle.
No, yeah.
With ADHD, I mean, she's a battle.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes. And so I think that it's worse some days, and some days she hides in my pocket and I don't see her. But I haven't named mine either.
You're not like a namer type person though. Like, I typically name everything, and I just like, I don't talk to her. I just listen to her, I guess.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so you listen.
I just hear her.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess that's a better word.
Yeah, I gotcha. How often would you say she comes out to play?
How many days are there in a week?
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
What are the questions before I start giving all my examples?
No, go ahead. I want you to
So I think back, picture it.
Well, no, the next thing that's interesting is how do childhood experiences, culture, or expectations shape our inner critic?
Back to that.
Our childhood.
So I actually, now that we have the internet connecting all of us, there's this sort of commonality of high performance kids. And basically we were told you can be anything you want to be. You're smart, you're capable. But the reality is, like, all of this input and pushing us to excel faster than we were supposed to educationally. Let me say that. No one was telling me I could be anything I want athletically. But like my reading levels when I was really young were like really off the charts. So I remember being like allowed to check out older books. So I was reading dystopian books when I was like 9 because they were like, based on these scores, you are so smart. And I was like, thank you so much. But then I didn't know how to study because I didn't have to. So that like affected me later on. And then I got into college and I was like, this isn't the same kind of homework. So I didn't ever have to learn how to get a lot of the answers. Like I just sort of like could read it and know it. And so that thing shaped me in that then I felt inadequate, very, very inadequate. Because then suddenly I was at college where we all could be whatever we wanted to be, but my brain didn't know how to be. Hindsight, I had ADHD. I was a high-performing ADHD female, so I got really overlooked. Nobody ever thought that I had ADHD, which is wild. I wish I worked full-time at Wendy's. I played 2 to 3 sports a year, so year-round I was playing sports. Not well, but we did it. And maintained really high GPA. And I did extracurriculars.
But that's interesting. So then you had those moments of thinking like, okay, I'm not good enough, or the imposter syndrome.
Yeah, always. Because I was just like mediocre at everything, I felt like. I wanted to hang out with my friends, so I played soccer. I wanted to hang out with my best friend, so I joined the dance team. And so it was never like I was like superstar at anything. I was really mediocre at everything. And so I would do, except theater. Theater's where I felt like I'm really good. That was sort of the first time that I could be like, oh no, I deserve, like I'm really good at this. Anything else I would be like, like I was a starter for like my teams, but there weren't a lot of us. so like I knew I wasn't like superb at these things, but and then later, like as I transitioned to more professional, not that Wendy's is not professional, I spent a lot of my life there. As I transitioned into more professional jobs, I would get promoted like pretty quickly. And all the time I was like, why? I am not equipped to do this. Why? Why am I managing these other people? I cannot manage myself. Anxiety, depression, ADHD. I think if I would have been medicated and had like those therapies then, imposteria, whatever she is, she would not have come up because I could have controlled my thinking of myself better, maybe. And like, and words of affirmation are no good to me, as we've talked about. So people hyping me up it doesn't mean anything. It does. Like, I'm really grateful. Thank you so much. But I don't know what to do when someone tells me I'm doing a good job, because internally I'm like, okay, I did a good job this time, but did you know about this last time and this last time that I did a really bad job?
Yeah.
So I feel like I've been like mediocre at a lot of things and not exceptional where I was sort of told that I was exceptional. I was gifted and talented.
Yeah.
So for you though, what sort of shaped your imposteria?
I think that the thoughts were there through athletics. I think that, I was having this talk with someone the other day. It's like I can go back and think of way more times that I struck out or I missed the shot or I overthrew the ball. Like I miss the ball. Like I can think of way more instances where that happened than like the home run or
I know every spelling bee word I ever missed from kindergarten through 8th grade.
Exactly. And like I know I was good at sports, and I know that like I had a lot of really good moments in my high school and in my travel ball. But I still think there was like, and not only just because of like my own inner critic, but through coaches especially, it was preached like you gotta be perfect, you gotta do this, you gotta, perfection is key. And it's like,
I'm laughing because mine were just happy if I showed up. Coach Anderson.
Well, mine were happy I showed up, but
I'm sure they were very happy when you showed up.
You know, it was this like 14-year-old Maggie that was like, how am I supposed to be perfect? Like, what does this mean? And especially if I miss the ball or I strike out or whatever, like I'm not perfect, so I'm not good enough.
Do you think that it had any impact? So like mine was a competition of me and my sister all the time, and so your impact was you and yourself.
Yeah, it was me and myself, but it was also the other 12 girls on the team, 20 girls on the field, you know, 150 girls at the college showcase. Like it was me. It was a very individualized, especially when it got to that point. It was very individualized of how can I showcase myself better for these people to want me. God, like saying that out loud is awful.
I mean, but like that, it also makes sense.
And so I don't know that it was an intentional thought of like I'm comparing myself to these other people at this point, but
so much as you have to be the best of
them.
I
have to be perfect. I have to be like every play, even like I remember our warm-ups, and I get that we all want to look good and everything, but like even the way we walked in the dugout had to be perfect. Like we got in trouble if we didn't walk in the dugout a certain way.
Oh, our dance team was kind of like that. We were expected to, it's like your show starts before.
And so I get that. It was just this weird,
which is funny because you'll be like onto the kids and T-ball and like get in the dugout the way.
You know, maybe that's where bless
and I'm hearts. Like, I'm just happy they're here.
They showed up.
I got them there on time. So two gold stars because this mom got them there on time.
Yeah. But you know, it's interesting because I had that mentality in sports in high school, junior high, you know, growing up, but I didn't have that with school. And so I had like, I mean, a B, a C. It was like, all right,
maybe my parents knew the athleticism. Like I was expected to make A's. They were like, we know what you're capable of. We know that you're going to make an A. And I was like, have you ever done chemistry?
Right.
Advanced chemistry? Did you take advanced chemistry? No, Mom.
A B and a C were fine. And I mean, like my mom, I think, wanted me to do better than that. But
your athletic sports scholarship, honestly, were going to carry you. I mean, like you were very smart, but they truly were going to carry you further than the academic scholarship.
If you knew me in high school, like I did not apply myself. And so when I got to college, though, it was kind of an opposite turnaround of what happened, I think, with you. I had channeled all like that perfection and I have to be good. I have to be perfect. I had put all that in school. And so it was like, I've got to get a PhD. I gotta get the best job. I gotta make money and I gotta do this. And I gotta get a house and buy my own house and all that. And so I channeled a lot of those I need to be perfect thoughts towards something else. But yeah, no, athletics, I think, I don't want to say, I certainly don't regret playing sports. I sometimes wish that I could go back and tell myself, it's not this serious. Like it's a big deal, but
would you have listened to?
No, 100%. But I would question it, and I think I would be, and I think I would tell myself it's okay that you're not perfect, and that's okay.
if I could go back into my like 16-year-old self, I would just hug her. Like, I would be like, it's gonna suck. But
you're
like,
gonna get diagnosed with ADHD.
I'm gonna cry. You're gonna cry a lot.
You're gonna cry a lot. You're gonna be diagnosed with ADHD at some point.
Hold out.
Just hold on.
Yeah, I'd go back and give myself Adderall.
Yeah,
I would do that.
I would go back and give you Adderall.
We may have never met though. Like if I didn't have all these failures under my belt, then I wouldn't have
silver lining.
Sort of ended up back here. So
yeah, no. So I think that my inner critic is a lot of my thoughts stem from I'm not good enough, or not even necessarily that I'm not good enough, or I need to be perfect, and if I'm not perfect, I'm not good enough. And so I think that that's where the little devil Maggie sitting on my shoulder right here comes up and is like, oh, you didn't do that perfectly, so you're not good enough. And so sometimes even I'm better about it now as a counselor. But starting out, there's major imposter syndrome in that of like, how am I supposed to sit here and help someone with their life? Like, what does this even mean? And I remember posting a picture at my graduation, at John Brown, and I had posted it with one of my friends who's also graduating, and it was like, and the caption was, how are we qualified for this? You know, not giving ourselves credit for all the work that we had just put into getting that master's degree.
I think in some ways though, the being humble when you first start is good and safe. For the people that you take care of, especially in healthcare in general.
There's a very fine line of being humble and willing to learn and being like a hard ass on yourself.
Yes.
Like that's a very fine line, I would say.
Yes. As a nurse, I didn't feel like a real nurse. Literally one time, I think I was still maybe 6 months in. At this point, this is sort of where I'd been given charge positions. So I was a nurse very, very short time, and I was given a charge nurse position. Now, this particular case, smaller amount of patients, but still like lives are at stake. They are supposed to be medically stable, but sometimes you just never know what's going to happen. And the ambulance brought a patient in, and they're like, who's the nurse taking the patient? And I turned around because I was like, oh, she's me. She's me. I'm the freaking nurse. And I still feel that way sometimes, but it really took me, so I did psych nursing for the first year. So then I came basically to med-surg as, going into my second year of nursing, and really until like six-ish months of that did I even feel like, am I a real nurse at all? Even though I had done, obviously, like I did the same qualifications as everybody else, but I felt like everyone else was smarter than me. We all went to school, we all passed the test, but I was like, everyone else knows something that I don't. Like, how did you guys learn this? I sat in class with you. Like, I don't know this. Why do you know this? And sometimes even now I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing.
And I would say that experience, even just like your nursing experience has like excelled over the last couple of years with
because they keep putting me in positions that I don't know what I'm doing.
Because you're being put in those positions, I was gonna say. So like you're kind of just immersion therapy, like you're just being thrown into it.
Yeah, which is actually like just how I've done everything in my life. It's kind of the ADHD too. But 2 weeks ago, I had this moment of I am the most experienced nurse on the floor. I was in charge. I had a couple orientees. And this situation happened, which literally 6 months ago, my brain may not have kicked in. Like, we would have gotten her the help that we needed. But it was this moment of, like, everything clicked. And it was this magical... I've been a nurse for 4 years. If I'm taking care of you, I'm so sorry. I promise I do know what I'm doing. I was watching the telemetry, the heart monitor. I was in charge. I was navigating some different things. And I was like... her rhythm is this. specific one. And I was like, that's bad. And so this was a movement that we were about to transfer somebody to ICU. I needed her surgery procedure to be moved up fast. So there was like lots of levels. And I was like, okay, team, I need you to do this. I need you to do this. Put the crash cart outside the door. I'm calling the house charge. I'm also messaging the cardiologist. And it was this moment of like, obviously the patient was going into a really bad situation with her heart. But we, as a team, even though they were less experienced, they really trusted me. I'm so sorry.
But see, why did you do that? Why did you apologize? Like,
because imposteria. It was the smoothest transition.
You're good.
That had ever happened. Yes, and the patient, we didn't have to get to a crash situation for us to move. So it was this moment of like, I knew what to do.
Yeah.
And that is the moment that I have felt the most nursiest in 4 years. Now, I've done some cool things and a lot of under the direction of, and I'm usually will get in the right direction and then somebody else will come in and like the ICU nurses save the day. But this was a moment where like I actually got to call the shots and make everything. And I was like, I am a real nurse. And I went to go debrief in my, supervisor's office because I was just like, okay, for like 1 second, I need to be like, oh, that was crazy. And he was not there. And later I was like, where were you? Because you knew I was going to come right back to your office. And he said, you handled it. You had it. Why did you need a debrief? You did everything perfect. And I was like, odd. So there are moments though that every now and then I'm like, oh, it's clicked. I am here. I tell you, the craziest imposter syndrome was having a baby. I did not have to take a test for that. There's nothing that says you're qualified to be a mom. Like, at least with nursing and psychology, we get to be like, there's a test that proves I am competent. No one tested me. And I had a baby, and they sent me home with that baby. And what are you supposed to do? Like, and
there's no guide. Like, there's no
rule. And like, I had nannied, but you don't nanny a newborn. Moms nanny their babies. And truly, until Evadine was 3 days old, she was not thriving. Actually, she was nutrient deficient and had lost over like 13% of her birth weight, which if you're just in the general world and you don't have a baby, those are things
you don't want to hear.
You don't want to hear. It's really bad. And so I took her to the doctor, and the doctor was like, basically, your breast milk is not sufficient. Like nothing. So basically, she had not eaten.
So basically, you heard, I'm not good enough for my baby.
Yes. And 3 days old, and I go to button her little onesie, and tears just start dropping on her little onesie, and I was like trying to wipe them off, and that was the moment where I was like, I'm her mom. Like, it wasn't the moment that I got pregnant or anything. It was 3 days in, and I didn't think that I was her mom until I was failing as her mom. And then I will say, like, Forrest, obviously we were still married at the time, and he was like, it's okay, we can. And he wasn't saying, here we are. He was obviously this was our first baby, and he was like, you can keep breastfeeding. It's okay if we need to do additional things until we figure it out. Like, he was being very supportive, but I turned and I was like, I am her mother. My body is specifically made to do this. I made her. Why is and what I am doing?
Which
not
now,
enough?
as a nurse, you probably have a little bit of a different perspective of that.
Oh, she was allergic to my milk.
Yeah.
Like, we had to change my diet. She had this super cow milk protein allergy, which now, yes, after having two babies that had this protein allergy, most babies are actually allergic to cow milk dairy. So there's a lot of things. I had to change my diet. She was preemie. She was full term, but was preemie for like a month. But once we figured it out, everything was great. She started, hitting her little growth rates and stuff. But if I didn't we had a very, very incredible, it was called the Breastfeeding Center of Charleston. We got to go in and sit with a lactation consultant and a pediatrician for over an hour. There was no rushing. They give you this warm robe, they give you a cozy blanket, you have snacks, and they truly educate you on lactation and different things. And so had it not been for like, one, truly the supportive like Forest at that time, and the breastfeeding center of Charleston. I had really good bosses who were very flexible with me, which nobody is that lucky. Like that was this wild thing. But so because I had these resources, I started feeling more adequate as a mom. Otherwise, like I would not have. I still sometimes I'm like, how do I get to raise kids? The imposter syndrome would have been. I never would have felt adequate of being a mom. Like those are the two biggest titles that I have is a mom and a nurse now, and I would not have reached this level of like, oh, I can do it if I didn't have really, really good support behind me.
So in that, what I guess emotions would you say are driven by the inner critic for you?
Like what makes her show up? Or
like what emotions does she kick into gear?
Is inadequacy an emotion?
What's an emotion that goes into with feeling inadequate?
Sadness. Anger. I do sometimes, I'm like, why am I not getting it? That was a conversation like I had. And it's very interesting because my sister was a really high performer too. I don't necessarily think that she has ADHD actually, but she's a very high performer. And she was crying. Like we were both home from college and she was trying to do college algebra. It was like her first year. I promise the story is going to where the emotions are. And she was crying and was like, I don't understand why I can't do this math. Because she was like, I know I'm brilliant. Why can't I do this math? And I think that a lot, this like inadequacy is like anger. Like I know how to do whatever. I know, like I've been taught this. I can do this. Like, so why is it not clicking? Why is it not coming together for me? Why does my brain trick me in these things? And the anger and like sadness together is whatever that emotion is.
Well, and
sad, mad.
Yeah, and just peeling back that layer of anger and finding a lot of sadness.
Yeah,
under that, a lot of pain, I'm sure.
It's almost grief, like the loss of the idea that we could be whatever we wanted, or I could do whatever I wanted. I think. And I think that some people probably do experience levels of grief with these realizations or changes in their plans. Not necessarily realizations, but like if, you anticipated that you worked really hard and this is the end goal and the end goal changes or it's not attainable anymore, what does that look like? And then suddenly, are you qualified for anything else? In those things.
Yeah, I would say for me, the anger and the sadness of feeling like I'm not good enough or not perfect, but also the guilt of like I should have been. Like people were counting on me, and that's really big for when I played sports. Of like so many people were counting on me to do this, to hit this ball or to catch this ball or whatever it was, and it's like. When I didn't accomplish that, it was just like this flood of guilt.
Yeah, because you let other people down.
Yeah, or this perception that I, let other people down. And it's funny because I can think back. I'm sure that when other teammates they struck out or they didn't catch the ball or they didn't make the free throw or whatever, it's like we picked them up. It wasn't like a. You suck, get off the court, get off the field. It was like, hey, we're good. We're good. We'll get them next time. And I'm sure I have said those things to people, but very rarely do I ever remember saying it to myself.
Mm-hmm. Yes. There's the scene in Inside Out where Joy says like sorry if this is a spoiler. She is like, look at this moment. It's this happy moment of when her hockey team, they lifted her up and they physically like put her up and they were chanting and we love Riley. And then sadness came in and was like, but do you remember like what happened right before that? She missed the winning goal. And so Joy's memory was of her being lifted up and sadness's memory but it started as a blue memory. It started as a sad memory because she missed like this really bad, or really, shot she should have made. And so the team, instead of letting her stay in the blue memory, created a joy memory. And so seeing how that comes together sometimes of like, why would we not do that to ourselves? Why would we let it stay a blue memory instead of a...
Yeah, I like to think about the inner critic, and I have clients all the time that ask me, how do I deal with mine? Like, what's the best way to deal with an inner critic? And I'm like, just honestly, to be as nice as you can to that person and to that person. And so even like just talking to that person and being like, hey, inner critic Maggie, what's up? How's it going? Like, I hear you, and I always use the purple elephants. And so if I tell you not to think about a purple elephant, or even if you want to think about a purple elephant, what comes to mind?
A purple elephant.
Okay. The last time I checked, purple elephants weren't a thing, not real. But you're sitting about and thinking about one.
Mm-hmm.
So that just tells me that not all of your thoughts are true.
Which is a little unnerving, actually. Sometimes I can't trust my thoughts.
Yeah, well, and there was a study done, I think it was in 2020. There was like 60 to 80% of our daily thoughts aren't true. That's a lot of thoughts.
And I have a lot of thoughts.
Yeah,
I've had so many thoughts.
You have a lot of thoughts, and so if a large portion of those thoughts aren't true, then that's wild. But I'm gonna bet that a lot of the inner critic feeding you some thoughts aren't probably true.
They are not true.
Which is so much easier said than done. But I think it all comes back to, I talk about mindfulness a lot on this podcast and also in session, but being aware and being mindful of our thoughts, and recognizing, oh wait, like, is this purple? Like, is this real? Is this a true thought? Because like I'll do that and I'm like, man, I'm feeling like I'm just not good enough, or I'm having these thoughts of I don't understand why I'm not feeling like I can do this. And it's like, there's no reason that I can't. Like, there's no proof. And so I'm like, oh, it's a purple elephant floating by.
Yeah. And as many thoughts as I have, some of mine are so fleeting, like so in and out anyway. Like, I don't have time to negotiate with imposteria. But when I do... It's funny because I'm so uplifting of other people. Like, if people are down on themselves, I'm like, excuse me, why would you talk about my friend that way? But myself, maybe I'm not friends with myself. Maybe there's a healing factor in that somewhere. But I don't let especially other women, speak poorly about themselves. I'm like, okay, but what have we accomplished? What have you done? And so I don't get to... Maybe I don't intentionally spend a lot of times with my inner critic. It's a lot of like fleeting thoughts. So it's in and out pretty quickly. I don't think I sit and dwell on it a whole lot, but I can tell if...
I want you to think about biting into a lemon.
Why?
Just think about biting into one.
Okay.
Okay, what's your mouth doing?
Well, there's like that texture and you gotta like get past the peel.
What's your mouth doing?
Make it
what?
Ooh.
It's like watering.
I'm just thinking about the peel and the texture of it.
But you're tasting it.
No, I'm not there yet.
No, the peel, like you're biting into it. You can like taste it.
No, it's the texture. I don't think this is the best example for us. Whatever. Go ahead to the next thing.
Well, okay. So you made a face. Like you were like, it
obviously
bothered you.
Well,
it obviously bothered you.
It wasn't the taste of the lemon that I was thinking
That's
about.
fine, but it clearly bothered you to bite into that lemon.
Yes.
Okay. Now, do you have that...
I didn't come here for therapy today.
Do you have that same reaction when you see a lemon sitting on a shelf at Walmart?
No.
Okay. Still a lemon.
Still a lemon. I I don't often think about biting into them.
Right. But you can see a lemon and be like, oh, it's just a lemon.
Uh-huh.
And if we need lemons, you're like, oh, we need lemons.
Yes.
Without having like a visceral or like reaction to the lemon.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I think about our negative thoughts sometimes as lemons, and it's like they only really have power if we give them power.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I sometimes have to sit with that negative thought and put it on the shelf like that lemon and go, okay, it's just a thought. It's not real. It's a purple elephant. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to deal with it. And so, I can bite in it. I can dwell in it. Or I can just sit that nasty little thought on the shelf.
Yes. I have heard most of your analogies, and I haven't heard you say that one yet. And so I was really trying to figure out where we're getting lemonade.
I was wanting to throw that one at you. I knew you hadn't heard that one.
Yeah, that one was a little harder for me to follow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Savvy is all over the place.
So,
next question.
Well, inner critic. So, let's see. I think we'll just kind of go into some reflection here. So, what do you think life would look like if people treated themselves with the same kindness that they treated other people? Which kind of follows up with what you were saying.
A 50-50. But obviously it would just be a lot more rainbows and butterflies. Happier. Or I would hope that if that were the case, people would experience less depression, less anxiety, more productivity. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there's, all the layers of things that go into that. Make more art.
Yeah. Certainly, I think the mental health component would be better. But I think that we also learn a lot from our inner critics as well.
Yes.
And I think that there, like we had said earlier, there's like this humble, and I always say like we can be, we find that line of being selfish and taking care of ourselves, and that line of self-righteousness. So it's kind of like we find that line of being humble but also proud.
Yeah. I also think that there are certain instances where you have to be harder on yourself. There are truly, in my day-to-day life or death situations, and for you too, if someone hears something that isn't, I don't want to say isn't positive with you, but your situations could end up life or death as well. And so we have to find what my inner critic says is true, and how can we better a mistake, versus does this mistake define who I am?
Yes. Yeah. And I think that is spot on, that, these thoughts, even our mistakes, don't define who we are, and they don't define where we're going. And that goes along with a lot of a growth mindset, and being able to say like, okay, I failed this, or I messed up on this, but it's not who I am, and it's not where I'm going.
Right. Especially and I use healthcare, nursing specifically as
an example. And I told the nursing student, I still tell nursing students, this test does not define you.
No. Even the NCLEX, even taking the licensure, like there are more chances. And there was a situation where, I wasn't sure if I was going to pass the NCLEX, and there was a lot of pressure on me specifically because I was tutoring at the school. I had already had a job lined up. I felt like the weight of me passing felt heavier than some other students in the class. And you and I were friends at that point, and it was just like, this is going to be so embarrassing if I don't pass on the first time. If I mess up our pass rates, if I do this, and so I felt like the weight of passing that licensing exam, and you said, you're like, if you fail, what does that mean? And I was like, it means I'm not a nurse. And you're like, yeah, but don't you get to take it again? Like, you finished the class,
right?
You get to do these things. Now, obviously, easier said than done sometimes, but it would have been devastating had I not passed the first time, but it would not have kept me from moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And not defining you and your career.
Or not even, it's not a definition of my intelligence. It's not a definition of my capabilities to be a nurse, a mom, a provider, all these things. It would have just defined the trajectory for a short period of time.
And defining that moment, and I think that tests define moments, and they don't define longevity of who we are. And so I think that just being kind to ourselves and working on that self-love aspect of, I like to say.
So I think we do a really good job with the kids, especially of I am not able to do this yet, but I'm going to try.
I can't read. Yeah, I can't read this.
Teaching them to read is so hard.
Yeah, I can't. I hear that a lot. I can't read. It's like, I can't read this word yet.
Yes. And so I think we're also setting them up for having a good inner critic.
And a good expectation for themselves, because I still want them to have drive and have motivation.
Yes.
And still strive for progress versus perfection.
Yes.
You're
not going to make them perfect at sports.
No. Oh God, I hope that they don't step foot on the field or the court. And mainly just because I know how my body feels now. Yeah. And I don't want them to have to feel the way that I feel now with my body and all of the creaks and cracks and the pain. And yeah. So I think that the key is just the mindfulness and the awareness of how I'm speaking to myself on a daily basis. And I think having kids helps that too. It's like you want to speak to yourself the way that you're speaking to your children, and you want that kindness to show. It's like you want to see your kids speaking like you speaking to yourself. You want your kids to see that.
Yeah, especially about like my body. Like I have a very different body now than I used to. Obviously, like I've had kids. I don't play sports. My body just is not. I used to compete in pageants and do, different things that was very image based.
Which is kind of a plug. Our next podcast is going to be on body image.
But speaking about even how I look to the kids, I think is really, especially Evadine, is so important for her to hear positivity, because I didn't hear my mom speak about herself very positively. Sure. And just shaping, if I expect her to talk about herself a certain way, I also expect that she's going to speak about others in a certain way. And so I think the more ingrained it is to ourselves, how we speak of ourselves, it's only just going to continue over to how we speak to other people.
For sure. So I think the key is to be kind. Be kind to yourself. Love yourself.
That's been the key.
Be kind to everyone else, but also remember to be kind to yourself.
You deserve it.
And, again, we love to hear your feedback. So please let us know if there's something you want to hear, or continuing this conversation of inner critics. But we appreciate you guys listening. We appreciate the feedback that we've been getting. I think that's all I have on inner critic.
Yes, I'm hungry. I'm ready for us to, this is it.
That's our common thought.
To be wrapped up.
That's our common thought.
Me, my inner critic, we're always hungry.
I hear that a lot. I'm hungry, Maggie. I'm Maggie.
And I'm Sam.
2 Queens, 1 Conversations. We'll see you next time.